Many people think, only the low income people, the people make the minimum wage, they live paycheck to paycheck. In the US, if you miss two paycheck, you become homeless. Yeah. So many people, they think, the high income people, they never live paycheck to paycheck. They're wrong. Yeah. In the US, if you earn more than 200,000 a year, the people consider you the high income. Yeah, but for example, the person earn 200,000 a year, and after state tax, federal tax, and social security, income, about 30%. So that person take home about 140,000. Yeah, because 30%, so 140,000. So 140,000, and the people with the high income, they often live in the good area, expensive area, just like New York. And you see that in the New York, the apartment, average about 5,000. So you see 5,000 for 12 months, it means 60,000. So 140 minus 60, it means only 80,000. And 80,000, they had to pay for the electric bill, the gas, the sewage, the car payment, student loan, Yeah, and many kind of like the internet or the, membership fee, cell phone bill. So minus, 80,000 minus 30,000, maybe only 50,000. So 50,000, and they had to pay, 50,000, they had to pay many things, like, for example, they have, the high income people, they often have the high class friend. So the high class friend, they often, go to shopping expensive shop, They spend to buy expensive thing, or they go to the luxury restaurant. It costs more than, So you see, in the end, they don't save much money. You see many of the celebrity, they earn $1,000,000, and in the end, you see, they file bankruptcy, broke. Why? Because they didn't control their, spending habit. It doesn't matter, what the income you earn, but if you don't control your spending habit, you may become broke, like minimum wage, employees. Yeah. So that's why, you must, control your spending habit. It doesn't matter what income you are. Yeah. If you spend less than you earn, you survive. If you spend more than you earn, you will become homeless. Yeah, that's all for the video today. I hope you guys like my video. Bye bye.
Are directly targeted by retailers of high-end luxury products. Now, this category of high-earning broke people is so common that marketers even invented a whole term to classify them, Henry. It stands for high-earning, not rich yet. See, this group is young. On average, they're about 32 years old. They're evenly split between men and women, and they make anywhere from 200 to 500 grand a year. They're typically college educated and often hold advanced degrees, sometimes multiple degrees. I mean, it sounds pretty great. How could that not be considered rich? Well, unlike the average college graduate who has around 35 grand in student loan debt, Henrys have way higher balances. According to Business Insider, the average student loan debt for this group is $80,000. Ouch. In addition, they carry average credit card balances well over $10,000, and they love to shop online for overpriced athleisure like Lululemon or Alo. They always buy the latest iPhone or Apple Watch. They shop organic only at the grocery store. They definitely impulse travel, which explains that nonstop flood of travel posts on your social media.
Well, that is just obnoxious.
But whereas truly wealthy people have significant assets to their name like real estate or investment portfolios which generate the cash flow they need to comfortably afford their purchases, Henrys and Henriettas have little to no savings, no assets producing cash, and instead they need to spend their primary income to afford their lifestyle. As a result, they never have any income left over to accumulate the assets that the truly wealthy have. So next time you see someone on Instagram flex posting about their trip to Italy or some new Jeep they just bought, be aware, they might be way more financially stressed than you realize. Next, let's talk about high cost of living areas and how they impact your finances. It's no secret that salaries tend to be concentrated in certain industries like tech, finance, and entertainment. If you want to earn a huge salary working in one of these industries, between return to office mandates and a really competitive job market, you're really likely going to have to move to where the jobs are. For tech, that might mean to move to San Francisco and the Bay Area. For entertainment, you have Los Angeles and Hollywood. And for finance, of course, there's New York City. And sure, living in a big city, earning a huge paycheck might sound really cool, but trust me, the reality is city life is overpriced and totally overrated. Let's take New York City, for example. While the average rent in the US is about $2,000 a month, in New York, the average is about $3,800 per month. And that's for a 600 square foot apartment that may or may not have elevator access, not exactly luxury living. In addition, the average monthly grocery bill is 50% higher in New York City than in the rest of the country. Basic utilities are 30% higher for the same service you'd get anywhere. To top it all off, New York has the highest tax burden in the US, California not being that far behind, by the way. So even if you've worked real hard and taken on a ton of student debt just to qualify for one of these elite salary jobs at a big company, if that job is tied to your location, that dollar salary amount isn't actually what it seems. It's super inflated to reflect the local economy and the amount of taxes are going to be swiping right out of your paycheck, the amount of rent you're going to be paying to live there. In a lot of cases, wealth-wise, you're actually way better off earning half that big salary but living in a much cheaper state with lower living expenses, lower rent, and lower taxes. One recent study found that residents who spend over 30% of their paycheck on rent are shown to experience higher rates of anxiety and depression. So just be really careful with committing yourself to a job that might pay a really big salary but requires you to live somewhere that'll compromise your potential savings and your mental health.
It's not worth it.
Which takes me to our last reason, and that's social pressures. Once your lifestyle is inflated to a certain point, there's almost no going back to living cheaply, even if that's your only way out of your situation. I mean, picture it. If you were a doctor, a lawyer, or a big shot finance guy, and you're used to having a multi-million-dollar home and a backup Porsche for your daily driver Range Rover, it's going to take a real catastrophe to get you to hit the reset button and go back to driving a beater while you rent and pay down all your debt. I mean, changing your lifestyle at that point takes a level of sacrifice and humility because your friends and family are likely to notice if you sell off all your cars and buy a used Corolla. Even if that's an incredibly smart financial move, at this level of income, your social reputation will take a hit if you downsize your life. I mean, could you imagine your Henry friends or coworkers finding out you're actually a broke doctor or lawyer? So most high-earning people feel trapped. They might have made one or two bad financial decisions like buying too big of a house or taking on way too much student loan debt. Instead of selling off their home or their suit collection or moving into an affordable apartment until they can stabilize their finances, they spend their prime earning years blowing their fantastic incomes on equally huge bills, most of it just going to interest on servicing crazy debt. I mean, you would be shocked how many doctors and financial executives are living a life completely funded by debt, with little to no savings, no retirement, and where every dollar they spend is going to monthly payments and minimums. So ultimately, can having a high income help with getting wealthy? Yeah, for sure, if you're one of the rare few people who have the discipline to keep a low-cost lifestyle and invest the extra money you're making. But at any income level, the most important factor is how much of your take-home income you actually get to keep. How much of it are you saving and investing? So my message is not to discourage you, but to empower you, that regardless of how much salary you're making, becoming wealthy is fully within your control. You just need the right habits. Stop spending your money on stupid crap. Live within your means, pay off your debt, and focus on building your net worth by acquiring assets and investing. That's the only way you're going to be able to live the life that you deserve. With that, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below, do you have any friends who live that Henry or Henrietta lifestyle? And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Peace.